Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 213. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this plucky Wednesday evening, Earth date June 30th, 2021. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello, Remington. How are you today?
I have 2 days off this week.
Sweet.
So, well, technically 3 days, but 2 days off in a row. So, like, 1 week out of the month, the boss kind of gives us 2 days off in a row. I requested at one point, I was like, I just need like 2 days to be able to like rest and then bust out some stuff at home in a row. So she's kind of done that with a lot of the other people as well. Of course, a lot of the other girls I work every Saturday, right?
Right.
Well, they all have their notary and they trade Saturdays. So like, and we're not open Sundays. So one of them will always have 2 days off in a row.
Oh, because they don't work Saturday.
Because one of them will always not work, or two of them will always not work Saturday.
Okay.
And I said, I don't mind working every Saturday. It's 9 to 3. It's not that long. I still have the rest of the day. It's no big deal. But yeah,
it's not a bad shift at all.
Yeah, for sure. And so I was just like, yeah, that's cool, whatever, I'll work that. But it definitely helps my, I would even say my mental state to have 2 days off in a row where I can just relax and be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, you have time to center yourself again.
Yeah, and which is what I did. I mean, I laid in bed until like 1:30 today. No, I laid in bed until 2, but I woke up at around 1. And I didn't get a whole lot accomplished today, just a couple of things that I needed to do. But I still have a list, and I have all day tomorrow to finish off that list. And there's not a ton on there. There's a couple of things I'm gonna get done after we're done here, and yeah, it's good. It's real good. So that's how I'm doing currently. I am currently A-okay because of that. And magically, Brandon, all of a sudden it's July 4th.
Holy shit.
I don't know if anybody... I've tried to EQ it out as best I can, but you might hear some... not my phone. That just means that I'm an asshole and I didn't turn it off.
You
might
son
hear
of a
some
bitch.
Might hear some explosions in the background. So
yeah.
Brandon's internet died on us as we started to record, so we had to wait a couple of days for it to come back. And hopefully stay up long enough. If not, you're just going to join me on the phone?
Yeah, if my internet cuts out again for whatever reason, I'm just going to jump to my phone. So the quality may drop. Or not may. The quality will drop if I have to go to my phone. But I still want to get this episode done and out.
Yeah, for sure. We're trying to get that energy back. Trying to get this shit going.
My fucking internet, it will just drop. Out of nowhere, I'll just lose internet, and sometimes I'll lose it for like a couple hours, and sometimes I'll lose it for like 5 minutes. It'll just drop out and then pop back on. So the only thing I'm guessing is that it's my modem router.
Yeah. Those modem router combos are garbage.
Especially the ones from Suddenlink.
Yeah.
Which is the internet that we have.
Yeah, I'm more a believer in a single entity doing its own thing. I don't like combos when it comes to technology, per se.
Yeah. Well, because if one goes bad, you have to replace the whole thing.
Yeah. It's like, or you can just get a router and then buy your own, or you can just get a modem and buy your own router. And then if your router dies, then it's on you. And if your modem dies, then at least you still have internet. You just have to hardline.
Yeah, true.
Which your PC is hardlined anyway.
Yeah, it's just the ease of it, I think. Instead of dropping, $200 on a good modem and router or more, depending on what I want, I can just pay an extra $10 a month to Suddenlink. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I know that money is adding up over time, and I would be better off in the long run to buy my own modem and router.
Right.
But I don't do it.
No, you don't.
That was my Ricky Ricardo.
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
So I was watching some I Love Lucy, and they are not very nice to Fred Mertz.
I can safely say I genuinely don't remember any of the interactions with Fred.
Well, like Ethel is just, she's nice to him until there's other people around, and then she's like, "Oh, you old fat goof."
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't have a point with that. I just wanted to say there wasn't anywhere I was going.
Poor Frank.
It's Fred, not Frank Remington.
See, I don't even care to know his name. That's how little respect I have for him.
You're just as bad as Ethel.
I am. She calls him Frank all the time when people are around. And she's like, "Fred, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to keep up appearances."
Well, you really don't watch the show because that's not remotely what she sounds like.
Well, I'm not a fucking 80-year-old man either, so.
You are inside, though.
Well, that's true, but I'm the 80-year-old man who never watched television. That boob tube will be the death of America. Go do something outside, you kids.
Meanwhile, you hardly ever do anything outside, Remington.
I spent most of the day outside, actually.
Oh, yeah, doing what? I saw that you said you were working outside.
I mowed the lawn and weed eated and bought some oil for my tree chainsaw.
Ooh.
Or pole saw, I guess is technically what it's called. Because I've got some landscaping I need to do because everything is growing over at my house.
Have you thought about just burning it all?
Oh, God, yes. In fact, I mentioned it just earlier today that I would be 100% okay just pouring gasoline all over my lawn and setting it ablaze. I hate yard work.
Yeah, yard work's...
Did I lose you again?
No, I'm
What?
here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just cut out there for a hot second. You said yard work, and I didn't hear what else you said there.
Okay. Yeah, yard work sucks. That's why you need to get an apartment. Leave the house behind.
Yeah, just leave it behind. It's one of those weird things. Like, it used to be that I hated even mowing the lawn, but it's gotten to the point where if it's a cool enough day, I'm okay mowing the lawn. But anything past that, like we've got these her dad said they were sumac trees, and they're just all on the side of the house, and they're like they'll grow up to 15 feet tall.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and they're getting pretty close to it.
Yeah, I haven't been to your house in a long time.
They're kind of like, well, your childhood home out behind of it had bamboo.
Yeah.
Which is a relatively invasive species. So a few summers ago, you helped take a lot of it out.
Yeah, and that was terrible.
Yeah. This stuff is very similar. It's not quite as fast to spread, but it is certainly fast to grow. And the downside to it, apart from bamboo, is that it stinks. It smells like skunk.
Ew.
And you get into it, and some people are allergic to it. I'm not, apart from just my general hay fever allergies, which are going off the wall right now. But I can get into it, and it's just like I come into the house and I just smell like weed or skunk or some combination of the two. Because it's not quite skunk, but it's not quite weed. It's just this weird amalgamation of the two.
Yeah. So is this just your way of covering up that you're smoking weed now?
Yeah. I grow these things outside of the house. That way I can get blitzed, brah.
No, Ginger, I swear, it's sumac.
I promise. I promise. I promise.
Whenever you get high, you turn into Don Knotts.
Who's smoking weed? Nobody here is smoking weed.
That's your tell. Everybody knows.
No, can't be, Andy, can't be.
So, did you ask me in the episode we recorded a couple days ago what I was up to?
No, I kept running my mouth. So why don't you tell me what you've been up to, Brandon?
I've been up to absolutely nothing besides working at Jurassic Park. I have like no funny stories. I have nothing exciting I've been up to.
I mean, was there even a point to me asking you then?
No, it's part of the routine of the podcast.
It's part of the thing. It's part of the thing. You got to do the thing.
Hey.
What did you say last time? If we start doing voices, it's a telltale sign that we need to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, the impressions is when it's like, okay, let's get to it. God, it's like explosions outside my house right now. I mean, it's the 4th of July, so of course there are, but it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. It is nutso.
It sounds like someone's firing off a Civil War cannon.
Well, it's also a Civil War now.
I was going to say, what if they are firing off a Civil War cannon?
Well, this will be our last podcast, I guess.
So let's go out with a bang, Remington.
Ha ha! I see what you did there.
It wasn't intentional, but I will take it.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, what do you got? There's no segue into this shit. Let's just fucking roll.
Yeah, we planned on this being a shorter episode anyway.
Yeah.
Just so we can try to get back into the rhythm of things.
Yeah, and it's already 9:30 too. So do you have to work tomorrow?
Yeah, but I don't have to work till the afternoon.
Oh, that's good. I'm kind of on call.
So you're off, but they may call you in?
Yeah, so the boss decided to only do like a half day, so she made us open until 1, 8 to 1. So 2 of the girls were like, yeah, we'll work. And I was scheduled, but she was like, the boss was like, I think we only need 2 people here. I don't think it's going to be busy. And she was like, anybody want it off? And the 2 girls didn't. I was like, I mean, if you don't need me, I don't have to work. I don't care. It's fine. Just whatever.
Yeah.
So,
sumac smoking has really helped you out with your attitude.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
It's fine. I'll work or I won't work. Whatever.
It's whatever, man. The dude abides. So yeah, I told them if they start getting slammed or something, just shoot me a text that says "come," and I'll be there.
It's like your bat signal.
Yeah,
it's a way less romantic bat signal. Somebody just
yelling,
texting you,
at me.
Come.
I mean, that's the only way I can get off anymore anyway. just someone forcibly yelling "come" at me. If it's a German person, it happens even faster.
And it's not that you find it erotic, you just have a sense of duty.
Yeah. Yes. Schnell, come. All right. Yes. Anyway, back to starting the stories and shit. What you got, bro?
All right, Rem, what do you think about Jeff Bezos?
He's a genius, I tells you.
Okay. Do you find anything wrong with his practices about like not paying taxes or anything?
Oh, are you going to cover this one? I have this one too, maybe. Maybe I don't. If you're talking about taxes, then maybe I don't.
No, I'm just leading into a story.
Okay,
I just want to
cool.
get your general opinion on Jeff Bezos. This has nothing to do with his taxes or politics at all.
I have actually, because of school, studied some of Jeff Bezos, and it is like interesting. Physically? Yes. Like studied his body. It was a painting class. It got really weird. He flew in on his private jet. We're like, Jeff Bezos, what are you doing here? And he's like, I love being painted by amateur artists.
That does sound like Jeff Bezos.
And then he gave us all $100,000 and left.
Wow.
Well, he only did it because it was tax deductible.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never heard this story before.
Well,
That you
he
were
told
gifted
us
$100,000 by a nude Jeff Bezos.
he wasn't nude when he gave us the money, but he should have been.
Yeah, I'm disappointed he wasn't.
I think that Amazon itself is getting too big for its britches. That's what I think. And
Okay.
I do think the way that Jeff came into power is really interesting. And for those of you who don't know, Amazon started off as an online bookstore, but it wasn't the books that Bezos was interested in selling. He pioneered the idea of using algorithms to put stuff that you may like in front of you to maximize sales.
Oh, is that where he got his real money from?
Yes, that was the whole point of Amazon, is just collecting your data. Amazon is not about selling. Amazon is about collecting data.
Huh.
Yeah. That's one of those things that people don't realize, and it really puts it into perspective about how much information you're giving Amazon and how much they're using it.
So what you're saying is you don't think that he should buy and eat a priceless work of art?
I mean, if he wants to, it's his money.
Because there was a change.org petition started, and the title of the petition is "We Want Jeff Bezos to Buy and Eat the Mona Lisa." It was started by a man named Kane Powell.
Okay.
The description goes on to say, "Nobody has eaten the Mona Lisa, and we feel Jeff Bezos needs to take a stand and make this happen."
That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of stupid shit. In fact, I've probably said that on multiple occasions during this podcast, but I think this one takes the cake. I think Bezos should take a stand and eat the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, it needs to take a stand and make this happen. Would you be surprised to know that the creator Kane Powell came up with this idea in an Applebee's?
Yeah? Was this before or after he smoked that entire bong himself?
As to why he should eat the Mona Lisa, Kane told Vice magazine, "I honestly don't know. I mean, me and my fiance were dipping into the dollar drink menu."
Oh.
So yeah, a musician out of Maryland has created probably my favorite thing on the internet since Bodie McBoatface.
Bodie McBoatface? Even
Yeah.
Smash Mouth eating the eggs or whatever it was?
Ooh, that's pretty tough.
Yeah. Because that was your favorite thing on the internet.
Yeah, it was.
Bodie was...
I like the absurdity of this story.
Yeah, yeah. And it's right up there with Smash Mouth eat these eggs. Was it eggs? Was it fried eggs?
Yeah, it was eggs.
Okay.
They wanted him to make a bunch of scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
So he ended up cooking an omelet and feeding it to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Like a fat Jesus.
Yeah. Like a fat eggy Jesus.
So I saw a breakdown online, and I didn't write down the notes for it because it was kind of a boring story, but the general idea, there was an art scholar who lives in France who responded to this and said, and did a breakdown of, could Jeff Bezos actually buy the Mona Lisa if he wanted to?
The answer to that question is, of course, yes.
Absolutely. The scholars at the Louvre, or the people at the Louvre, value the Mona Lisa at about $400 billion.
Yeah.
And that's just because it drives tourism more than anything else. Like, there was a quote that said something like 75% of people who come to the Louvre come only to see the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's not that great of a painting, you know? It's a good painting. I mean, it's better than anything I could do.
I was going to say that's true. And I was like, wait, that's me. And I don't want to say that. I mean, you could get there if you applied yourself and wanted to.
Yeah, definitely I could.
I don't think I could. It would take a hell of a lot more work for me.
I've never been good at portraits anyway, so that's really where I would need to practice, would be portraits.
So, how much did you say it was?
I think they said about 400 billion.
Actually, then he probably wouldn't be able to. His net worth now stands at Somewhere between 193.5 billion to 201, almost 202 billion.
Okay, let me look it up real quick then and see.
Okay.
Because I know whatever it was, he had the money to do it.
Okay.
Okay, I was totally wrong on 400 billion.
Okay.
I was way off. It's believed to be worth more than 867 million.
Yeah, that is way off.
So close to $1 billion.
Yeah. But yes, he absolutely could and should.
See, I don't know if the Louvre would part with it.
Let's take this stupid idea and just run with it. I think he should, and then I think he should pay another artist to paint him eating it. That way they can hang that in the Louvre. And there's still that draw for the audacity of somebody eating the great works of Leonardo da Vinci. The greatest work of Leonardo da Vinci.
I love it, man. I think that's a perfect idea.
Speaking of Amazon.
And paint it the same size, too.
Yeah, for sure.
You want it to fit into the same frame.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Go ahead with your segue.
Speaking of Amazon, I have a little more serious story about Amazon.
Okay, I just want you to know that the shorthand for talking about Jeff Bezos eating the Mona Lisa is GobbleDaLisa. That's what people say online.
Oh, that's silly. That's silly.
Yeah.
So Ars Technica reports that Amazon doesn't like the FTC chair Lina Khan's views and wants her off the investigations. Sensing a change in antitrust landscape, Amazon fires a warning shot.
What investigations?
So actually, I don't believe there has really been any yet. Hold on. Let's listen to the story and see where it takes us. Amazon.
I'm all in.
Amazon filed a 25-page petition today with the Federal Trade Commission asking that Chairwoman Lina Khan recuse herself from antitrust investigations into the company. Khan, a frequent critic of Amazon and other big tech firms, was appointed FTC chair less than 2 weeks ago, which this was released on the 30th, 6:30. Though there has been plenty of speculation about her first moves, her short tenure to date means that she hasn't had much opportunity to file lawsuits or announce investigations. So she hasn't even really done anything yet, aside from just being outspoken against Amazon's potential antitrust practices.
Okay. So Amazon wants her to step down because they know that she'll cause problems for them?
Apparently. For those of you who don't know what antitrust laws are statutes developed by governments to protect consumers from predatory business practices and ensure fair competition. Antitrust laws are applied to a wide range of questionable business activities, including market allocation, bid rigging, price fixing, and monopolies, which is something that it has been reported that Amazon has done. Price fixing would be a kind of a big one of them, in the sense that, especially in the earlier days, but they're still doing it.
What are they price fixing?
Amazon started off as a library or as an online book sales website, and then they opened it up to other publishers, and they were basically a flea market, right? So they opened it up to everybody to use their platform to make sales. And then they would pressure these smaller companies to give them better and better prices until it came to the point where many of these companies felt they either had to or just die because they were making the most sales on Amazon, and at the same time, they were being pressured into basically losing more and more money.
Yeah.
So while they were making more, they were also having to take more of a hit on the back end.
I'm starting to think Amazon may not be the good guys.
And that, of course, can lead to the more people that Amazon has under their umbrella selling, the more prices can be locked into a certain thing. And they can be potentially, and Amazon can potentially tell you, no, you have to give it at this price because otherwise you're never going to make any sales.
Yeah.
And that might eat into your back end, especially considering how many more Chinese vendors who can offer these things at a wholesale cost or close to a wholesale cost, or their markup is nowhere near what somebody who purchased them wholesale from these Chinese vendors and then are trying to sell them themselves. Now, that's not to say that you still can't make money by flipping stuff like that on Amazon. You totally can. But the longer and longer that this kind of goes on, the more potential for abuse there is.
I mean, how long has Amazon been around? In its current iteration?
And in its current iteration, where it opened up to everybody selling everything else?
Or just in general.
Hold on. So it was created in 1994, July 5th, actually. So tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah. 94, 2004, 2014.
27 years.
Yeah. So yeah, tomorrow will be its 27th birthday in Bellevue, Washington. After he gave up his employment as vice president of D.E. Shaw and Company, which is a Wall Street firm.
He started out with some money already.
Yeah. Now, that being said, his mom, he did it in his garage to start off with an investment of $250,000 from his parents.
Yeah.
So while, yes, he probably had some money of his own, but they also invested to help.
Yeah, I mean, his parents were clearly very well off if they could give him $250,000.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure they had their own success. A lot of times people who kind of go into a Wall Street business setting, they tend to come from families who have money. That's just how it works sometimes. Most of the time. Sometimes.
Yeah, because, I mean, you can get better schooling. You have money behind you. They have connections.
Yep. That's not to say that it happens all the time, but it's definitely easier to do.
I say the rags to riches story is bullshit most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes.
Way to walk that line, Remington.
I know, right? That's not what I meant to say.
Sometimes not.
Well, I was trying to think of
Whatever.
I was trying to think of the author who did the Bigs.
I'm not sure.
Ben Carpenter, who is author of The Bigs, The Secrets Nobody Tells students and young professionals about how to find a great job, do a great job, be a leader, start a business, stay out of trouble, and live a happy life. It's a long title for a book, but he started off where his family wasn't particularly wealthy, but he also kind of grew up in a time where there was potential, and his parents kind of found themselves being in the right places at the right times almost. It's a really good book. If you've never read it and you're interested in business of any kind, it kind of lights a little fire in you. He ended up becoming very wealthy and working Wall Street himself, but in order to, like, him getting into some of these Ivy League colleges was in no short order due to serendipity, it seems like a lot of the times, because they didn't have the money necessarily to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
it's called The Bigs?
Yeah. So going back to the story, sorry for the large divergence. Although Amazon profoundly disagrees with Chair Khan's conclusions about the company, Amazon wrote in the petition, it does not dispute her right to have spoken provocatively and at great length about it in her prior roles. But given her long track record of detailed pronouncements about Amazon and her repeated proclamations that Amazon has violated antitrust laws, a reasonable observer would conclude that she no longer can consider the company's antitrust defenses with an open mind. Khan made a name for herself 4 years ago when she published a paper in a law journal titled Amazon's Antitrust Paradox. The paper made the case that current antitrust laws have fallen short as tech platforms have risen to dominance. She argued that prices are a poor yardstick with which to measure anti-competitive behavior and market power, especially among platform companies like Amazon. The peculiar economics of platforms means that companies are happy to forego profits in the name of growth, which leads to predatory pricing, she said, which is true in Amazon's case. Amazon did not start making any money until, I think, 2001 or 2002.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bezos was 100% on board, just becoming more and more popular and growing more.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like 2001 or 2002 before Amazon actually turned into the green.
And then it must have just grown exponentially then.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And because the very nature of platforms allow companies to control access to various products and services, it creates incentives for companies to favor their own products over rivals. Which now we have Amazon Essentials or whatever, which...
What is Amazon Essentials?
It's products that Amazon has purchased wholesale to sell themselves.
Oh, okay. I've bought some stuff from that then.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely have. And to be perfectly honest, in a lot of cases, those are usually offered as the cheapest option.
Yeah. Amazon's choice with stars beside it.
Yep. And they keep just enough quality on it that 9 times out of 10, it's going to be enough for what you need.
Those sneaky bastards.
Yep. Since graduating from law school, Khan worked for the Open Markets Institute, which advocates for stronger antitrust laws and enforcement, and for the House Judiciary Committee, where she worked with Representative David Cicilline, Democrat, Rhode Island, to open a congressional inquiry into tech companies' behavior. That Amazon has come out guns blazing suggests that the company thinks some of its behavior will likely reach the FTC's inbox if it hasn't already. The FTC's agenda isn't necessarily set by the chair, Harvard professor Shane Greenstein told ours when Khan's appointment was announced. Rather, it's shaped by consumer complaints, merger proposals, and so on. The FTC would need a complaint to act on if it were to take action against Amazon. So... TLDR, Amazon doesn't want her because she's outspoken against Amazon's potentially hairy antitrust laws. So they're trying to somehow nip it in the bud by complaining like a 2-year-old. We don't want her to focus on us. Have somebody else do it that aligns with our... It's the dumbest law thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, that's playing it up. It's not the dumbest law thing I've ever seen, but it's something that's stupid. Like, of course they're going to have a problem. It's
I don't know why this is a news story.
Right?
I don't know why you came with this, Remington. Get out of here with this.
All right, bye. Okay, bye.
No, it's interesting, and you're right that Amazon is just kicking their feet.
Yeah.
Okay, so my story, Remington, is from late April.
Well, I was gonna go ahead and wrap this up real quick with one last thing.
Oh, my bad, sorry.
No worries. To finish up my story, Khan said during her confirmation, since you kind of got cut off by the fireworks, said during her confirmation hearing that in cases where recusal questions arise, she would consult with FTC ethics officials. How they'll advise her is unclear, but they are surely aware that political appointees seldom come into government as blank slates, wholly lacking in opinions related to the thing that they're going to oversee. What'd you say there?
A little bit of snark from Ars Technica.
Say that again because you kind of cut out again.
A little bit of snark from Ars Technica.
Yeah. Or at least from the FTC ethics officials. It doesn't say did it say specifically that they said it? No, that was probably a little like you said, snark from ours. So what have you got, Brandon?
Hey, so this story is from late April, and this story I kind of love.
Okay.
Not as much as Jeff Bezos eating the Mona Lisa, but it's pretty close.
All right.
Okay, so there was a Russian man working in China. His name was Vladislav Ivanov.
Okay.
27, was working as a translator on the Chinese show Produce Camp in 2021. Well, the producers of the show saw him and saw how good looking of a guy he was and convinced him to come on to the show. Now, Produce Camp is basically like a Chinese singing competition,
Okay.
and the winners of the competition get to be in a boy band.
Okay.
So he was drawn in because of how handsome he was. And they were like, hey, you want to be on the show? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he signs a contract and he's on the show.
All right.
Well, he immediately hates being on the show, like despises it.
Uh-huh.
He used the stage name Lelouch, and he told viewers, don't love me, you'll get no results. At the end of every episode, he begged viewers to send him home as he couldn't leave and breach his contract.
Jeez.
A quote from him saying, I hope the judges don't support me. While all the others want to get an A, I want to get an F, as it stands for freedom. So what happened to him is audiences loved him.
Of course.
And propelled him through the entire 3-month competition and 10 episodes.
That poor man.
After making it to the finals, Ivanov grumpily ate a lemon on camera and said he hoped people would not support him again. I'm not kidding, he said, deadpan.
I mean, he can take it because he's Russian, but he doesn't have to like it.
Yeah. Well, through like the weirdness of contracts and especially these shows, it really shines a light on like, even if you're in there and you don't want to be in there anymore, it's like, sorry, you signed a contract. You're going to owe us tens of thousands of dollars, if not more.
Yeah, for sure.
If you were on a reality show, what would be the kind of reality show that you think you'd have a shot of winning?
I have no idea.
Do you think you could do like a Survivor thing?
I was going to say, I'd like to think that I have just enough knowledge to make it through a Survivor thing without getting dysentery.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they do a lot of physical competitions too.
Yeah, I couldn't say for sure. I can tell
the one I think you and I should be on is The Amazing Race.
Okay. What's The Amazing Race again? I don't remember.
Oh, it's cool. There's teams of 2, and they all have to. It's basically like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Okay.
Where you have to find clues and go from one spot in the world to another spot in the world and figure out like, okay, the next clue is going to be in Mumbai. We got to catch a plane and get there.
Yeah, but Brandon, you and I aren't real smart. We're just smart on paper.
Yeah, I know, but some of the people that they have on there, it's not all about smarts.
Yeah. Sometimes
because you're
it's
going to
about
have
looks.
A producer at some point. Yeah, exactly. It's about looks more than anything else. And we have that in spades.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, if it weren't for this being in a podcast venue, we would have way more fans.
I know. People, that's why our Stand for the Fire Demon is so popular on YouTube.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that I've only been able to release 3 episodes. And none of those have you in them yet. Like, video-wise. It's just me.
It's just you for 2.5 hours.
Yep, I promise people it's going to get better. I think it was like episode 4 or 5 that I was able to start getting other people in.
Yeah. It was me and you and Bucky on like episode 4 or 5, and then Ethan jumped in a couple episodes later.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that Russian story would have more legs, but apparently not, Remington.
Hey, it's okay. I mean, it's a funny story, and like I said, I mean, the guy's Russian, so he can take it, but he won't like it.
I looked, and I couldn't find a reason why he grumpily ate a lemon.
That was just the thing that happened.
Yeah, whether that means something in different culture or whether it's literally just the idea of somebody so angry that they're going to eat a lemon on stage.
Maybe. So, all right, Brandon, my next story is a little bit of space news. Yeah.
Oh, shit. It's space news time.
SpaceX. Yes. Also from June 30th, this is from The Verge as well. SpaceX launches a big carpool of 88 satellites into space.
Didn't we talk about a story where scientists were complaining about how many satellites SpaceX was launching?
In theory, yes. This is something that they plan to do with the Elon Musk internet network, basically. So far, they have launched nearly 900 satellites just this year.
Just this year as in 2021?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Dozens of satellites launched to space on Tuesday's Oh, I read that wrong. I was like, wait, that sentence doesn't make sense. Dozens of satellites launched to space on Tuesday in SpaceX's second in-house quote-unquote rideshare mission from Florida, bringing the total number of orbital objects carried by Elon Musk's space company this year to nearly 9,000 or 900. 9,000. It's over 9,000!
9,000?
That's impossible. A reused Falcon 9 rocket launched 88 satellites total for the Transporter 2 mission, which also included, what's his name?
Who?
The guy from the Transporter movies and Snatch.
Oh, Jason Statham?
Yeah. Including a bust of Jason Statham. That's not true. I just thought it would be funny to throw in there. But it did include the first 5 for a new Pentagon agency and dozens more for various companies, countries, and schools. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket lifted off at 3:31 p.m. from Cape Canaveral, marking the company's 20th launch this year and the 8th flight for the rocket's first stage booster. That booster returned to Earth about 10 minutes later at SpaceX's Landing Zone 1, a pad of concrete that hasn't been used for rocket landings since December. Falcon 9 boosters usually land on a seafaring drone ship. Meanwhile, the carpool...
Does it say why they landed on the launch pad instead of the ship?
Not as of yet. It's been a few days since I've read through this whole story, so I'm kind of almost going in
so
blind
we're all
again.
discovering it together?
Yeah, kind of. Although I imagine it probably had to do with weather or something. Nothing exciting. Meanwhile, the carpool of 88...
No Krakens or anything?
No Krakens that we know of. Meanwhile, the carpool of 88 satellites was pushed toward a sun-synchronous pole-to-pole orbit. I combined Earth orbit.
Orbit.
Pole-to-pole Earth orbit by Falcon 9's second stage booster. 36 tiny satellites were mounted on a new payload adapter built by Spaceflight, a company that books space for small satellites on rockets alongside other satellites arranged by SpaceX. So there's several more paragraphs to this story. I just thought it was interesting that they have launched 900 satellites so far this year.
Yeah, 900 satellites seems like a lot of fucking satellites.
It does, but I think we're also under this impression that satellites are still quite large, and they're not, and they don't have to be.
How big are they now, do you know?
Let's see here. Let me see if I can find an average
like basketball size?
Average size of satellites on SpaceX. Now that's just giving me the stuff for Starlink. The current version of each Starlink satellite weighs 573 pounds and is, according to Sky and Telescope magazine, roughly the size of a table.
Okay.
But that's, I mean, in the scope of like what you imagine in your head, that's not very big either.
Oh, for sure. I was picturing like car-size satellites.
Yeah.
Like the satellite body being the size of a car and then the wings on the outside being bigger.
Yeah.
Like a TIE fighter. And
maybe once the solar or the maybe once the solar array is extended, you know, maybe you might be looking at the size of a car or something, but I was trying to look for like average size of how big is a typical satellite.
Are you asking me? Because I have no clue.
No.
I thought they were car size.
No, I was let's see here. According to Talking Points memo, a blurb from it, size varies. Communication satellites can be as big as a small school bus and weigh up to 6 tons. The FCC says. Most weigh a few tons or less. Some that are used briefly are 4-inch cubes and weigh about 2 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess they vary greatly in size, but I imagine a lot of the ones that are from like schools are probably relatively small, maybe anywhere from the tens of pounds to a couple of hundred tops.
Yeah.
If I were to hazard a guess.
Hazard away, my friend.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. 900 satellites.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
Isn't Jeff Bezos going into space?
I have no idea. I think
you don't follow the news at all.
I remember him wanting to. I know he did a whole...
let me look it up here real quick.
I know he did a whole presentation about his next venture is to be in space.
Did you hear that Jeff Bezos is going into space?
I have heard that that's one of his next ventures. I think he did a presentation to some people talking about it.
He is traveling on through his Blue Orbit company to space on July 20th.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So very soon.
Yeah, very, very soon. And Richard Branson of Virgin wants to beat Jeff Bezos to space, so he is now flying into space on the 11th.
Branson's such a prick.
But
he's my favorite one. Like, I think of any of them, he seems like such a cool piece of leather.
Yeah, I'm of two minds, because it's cool that there's people trying to race to get into space first.
Yeah. Like
as civilians, but at the same time, it's a bunch of billionaires just waving their dicks around, and I can't get behind that.
I mean, Brandon, if you were a billionaire, would you wave your dick around to get to space?
I don't think I'd want to go to space. I used to as a kid, but now that I'm older, I don't think I'd want to risk it.
Is it because of that episode where you talked about all the ways you could die in space?
Yeah, it stuck with me.
Does that hardcore play into your anxiety about going to space?
Man, that was a callback. That was an episode from a long time ago.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones, I think.
That was a really good one. It was me, you, and Cody.
Yeah, we say a long time ago, but I think it was like 108 or something. Which in the scheme of things, this is what, 123? Or no, 113? Or 213?
213.
213. What am I, drunk? I am drunk.
You are drunk, sir.
I am drunk, sir.
Take off your shirt.
Take off your shirt and jacket.
A little bit of Blink-182 for the listeners.
I have another space news story, Brandon, and then we can get on to something more interesting. Or less, if you guys like the space news.
You got to pay the space news tax to listen to the rest of the podcast, listeners.
Giant arc stretching 3.3 billion light years across the cosmos shouldn't exist.
You've got me.
A newly discovered crescent of galaxies spanning 3.3 billion light years is among the largest known structures in the universe and challenges some of astronomers' most basic assumptions about the cosmos. The epic arrangement, called the Giant Arc, consists of galactic clusters, and lots of gas and dust. It's located 9.2 billion light years away and stretches across roughly 1/15 of the observable universe.
So what's it made of? It's made of gas and dust?
Galaxies, so entire galaxies, galactic clusters, which are usually like lots of gas and dust would kind of fall into galactic clusters as well. Like star nurseries would be a galactic cluster, where like the Eagle Nebula is one of those where stars are forming all over the place all the time. I think you would consider that a galactic cluster.
So why are they considering this an object?
It's not necessarily that it's an object, but it's the size of the object that is interesting. So basically what it boils down to is there's kind of this agreed upon formula that structures in the universe are only supposed to get so big, and yet they keep finding more and more of these structures that are bigger than what they thought could happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Its discovery was quote-unquote serendipitous. Alexa Lopez, a doctoral candidate in cosmology at UCLan in the UK, told Live Science. Lopez was assembling maps of objects in the night sky using the light from about 120,000 quasars distant bright cores of galaxies where supermassive black holes are consuming material and spewing out energy. As the light passes through matter, blah, 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 blah. This is all just fucking explaining how she found it. Basically, she said that the quasars act like spotlights in a dark room, illuminating the intervening matter between the quasars. In the midst of the cosmic maps, a structure began to emerge. It was sort of a hint of a big arc, Lopez said. I remember going to Roger Clowes and saying, "Oh, look at this." Clowes, her doctoral advisor at UCLan, suggested further analysis to ensure it wasn't some chance alignment or trick of the data. After doing 2 different statistical tests, the researchers determined that there was less than a 0.0003% probability that the giant arc wasn't real. They presented their results on June 7th at the 238th virtual meeting of the American Astronomical Society. But the finding, which will take its place in the list of biggest things in the cosmos, undermines a bedrock expectation about the universe. Astronomers have long adhered to what's known as the cosmological principle, which states that at the largest scales, matter is more or less evenly distributed through space. So that's that formula. I guess it's not an actual formula. It's just a regarded principle.
Okay.
The giant arc is bigger than other enormous assemblies, such as the Sloan Great Wall and the South Pole Wall, each of which are dwarfed by even larger cosmic features. There have been a number of large-scale structures discovered over the years, Clowes told Live Science. They're so large you wonder if they're compatible with the cosmological principle. So they're discovering
all the time bigger and bigger things in the cosmos?
Yes, bigger and bigger kind of linked structures. And instead of being like evenly spread throughout the universe, which, I mean, they kind of knew, but if you look at a heat map of the universe, it seems to feel like the heated zones of the universe, of the observable universe, are relatively evenly spread across the entire heat map.
Does that prove that there's a higher creator, Remington?
Hold on, let me look up the heat map here. Let's share screen. A heat map of the universe for you to kind of see, Brandon.
Yeah.
And you can see, by and large, I mean, a lot of it is kind of spread throughout. There's like a middle zone, almost like a galaxy, where a lot more stuff is kind of congregated. I think this is.
I see that.
I think this is like a thermal dust emission, is what it says. But yeah, it looks by and large like most of it is just kind of, there's spots, there's splotches of higher heat, like right here. But by and large, if you were to take it all into account, it looks fairly uniform.
Yeah.
There's just a couple of random cold spots here and there. So, I don't know. I thought that, to me, it's interesting. Science, and especially space news in general, because it's so outside of the realm of what we can comprehend, to know that they just continue ending up having to question things that are regarded as a solid principle is fascinating to me. It's science in its rawest, purest form, I feel like.
Yeah, I can see that. That they basically just shrug their shoulders and they're like, we don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we figured it out, but at the same time, we didn't.
Yeah. And I have another story that will actually play off of that idea. But I will let you get to your next one.
Well, if you have space news, then you might as well continue with your space news.
That was it.
Oh, okay.
There's kind of more to that story, but I don't think any of it is particularly important. So,
what are things Batman does, Remington?
Broods.
Batman does broods?
Batman broods.
Okay. What is something that Batman doesn't do?
By and large, laugh.
That's not the right answer.
Masturbate?
You know he's masturbating in that mansion. You know it.
Alfred, clean up my socks.
Gross. Yes, Mr. Wayne. They have little bat symbols on them.
Yeah.
No, Batman does not go down on women. Did you know that?
You know, I read something about this, but go ahead. Tell me where you're going with this.
According to DC Comics, Batman does not do that. Harley Quinn co-creator Justin Halpern told Variety of a planned season 3 moment of the Harley Quinn show. He says, a moment when Batman was going down on Catwoman. And DC was like, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that.
Right. Didn't they backpedal, though? Or didn't somebody who...
Did they?
I think somebody who created, or not created Batman, but like has worked a lot on Batman or something like that, or is regarded as a... said that Bruce Wayne would absolutely go down on a lady. I don't
know. I mean, it's DC canon.
Hold on.
Are you Googling Batman going down on Catwoman?
Yes. Take that, government search spies. Let's see here. Oh, maybe it was just Zack Snyder.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure DC hasn't responded at all outside of what they told Justin Halpern.
Somebody, man, hold on. Let me find it, because somebody weighed in on it and was like, no, he absolutely would. Maybe it was Kevin Smith that weighed in on it. During a recent episode of the Fat Man Beyond live podcast, Smith made his view on the issue pretty damn clear. Quote, that's what a hero does. Hero eats your pussy before you do anything, before you even see his dick. And in Batman's case, that takes a long time because he's a layered character, Smith said. Smith went on to explain he's a bit of an expert on the topic too. After all, he is someone who's been reading Batman his whole life and was given stewardship once or twice. Smith added, it would track for the character. He's great at everything. He's studied everything. He went all around the world. You telling me he'd leave that off the list?
That's a good point.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if it was Smith that I saw who commented on it, but he does. He raises a valid point, so I'm just going to stick with that.
Val Kilmer weighed in on it too. He tweeted out a gif of Batman and said, would he? ?
Oh, Val Kilmer, you are awfully chunky now. Old and chunky.
Are you allowed to say that?
I'm allowed to say anything. I am fat. I am.
So you get the fat pass?
Yep, I get the fat pass.
Damn.
I'm almost B-word fat.
Bubblegum.
I went down to Tudor's to get some biscuits. Some buttered biscuits.
Oh man, what an episode.
Is it my turn?
We're getting back into the swing of things after a month.
Yeah.
Don't judge us.
Yeah, or do you have another one? How many more do you have, Brandon?
I have one more.
You have one more? Okay, I've got two more then. So I'm going to finish up a little bit of science news. This one should be relatively short. It's more of a recommendation than anything, but it plays into the idea that scientists, as a rule, don't know what they're talking about per se, and that's just fine.
Okay.
So the very popular science YouTube channel Veritasium recently joined in a physics debate that put the host / creator of the show into a rickety contraption with a giant fan on the top of it to prove that this particular contraption could be unpowered, be blown by the wind, and then exceed the wind speed through
That's interesting.
through mechanics. So there's no power in the vehicle whatsoever. It's all coming from the fan. Now, I am 100% not going to try and explain the physics behind it because I'm a big dum-dum.
Yeah.
But go over it.
You are.
The first video, it's about 22 minutes long. It's called Risking My Life to Settle a Physics Debate. Well, he comes back with another video on June 30th with the title, A Physics Professor Bet Me $10,000 that I'm wrong and that this vehicle cannot exceed the wind speed while not being powered by anything other than the wind.
Right.
So that my recommendation, that one's about 18 minutes long. So if you've got about 45 minutes or so, go to Veritasium, watch these two. It's enchanting, and I love it. He ends up getting Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson and another well-known physicist who I've personally never heard of to come in and hear the arguments from this professor. And I won't spoil how it turned out, but man, was it fascinating to watch.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't spoil it because that's something I'll watch, and it sounds like something that's right up our listeners' alley too.
Yeah. So if you go and watch it, let me know in the comments below, and let me know what your thoughts on it were, because it was a lot of awesome for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
You're up.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you had more.
Nope, that was it.
You just let me hang in the wind, Remington.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
So my final story is just a little piece of interesting history that I didn't know existed, and now I wish I knew a lot more about. In Capitol Hill in Seattle, there was a mystery vending machine in front of a car repair place, I think it was.
Okay.
Or a thrift shop, something like that. A mystery vending machine that just said mystery all over it. You would put in 75 cents and it would give you like a mystery soda. You couldn't pick what you were getting. And the machine was filled with like foreign sodas, discontinued sodas, sodas from places that are illegal to get from, like Cuba.
Okay, interesting.
Well, nobody knew who ran the vending machine. The guy whose business it was in front of was like, I don't know, I've never seen anybody change the machine or restock it. I don't know anything about it.
Weird.
So the machine disappeared in 2018. It was around since the 90s. So it was around like almost 30 years.
What the fuck? Okay.
It went missing in 2018,
Uh-huh.
leaving behind only a note that said, went for a walk.
Is it back?
Nope.
Oh, I thought you were going to wrap it up with like, oh, it's back.
No, you can go to their Facebook page. I think it's just called Mystery Soda Machine. And there's like pictures. They photoshopped it like travel Great Wall of China and different places.
That's interesting. That's weird.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you bring some weird shit to the table, man, and I appreciate you for it.
Like the last update that it posted was on its Facebook page on October 19th of 2020.
Uh-huh.
And it says, I was thinking about making my way home, but I'm not quite sure I want to be touched.
I like it. When did you say this was?
Yeah. October of last year.
October of last year. I mean, that makes sense. So my last story is a little bit D&D related.
Okay.
There is a Kickstarter currently going on called Incantations, which I thought was just phenomenal. The Kickstarter was created by Metalweave Games, and it is a book of narrative and worldly spells for 5th edition. It had a pledge goal of $7,000, and it is currently sitting at $23,372 with 26 days to go.
Damn.
Yeah. So Incantations is a book of spells for 5e crafted to give players and GMs powerful narrative tools and game state changing capabilities. Within these pages, you may not find a new arsenal of elemental wrath for your favorite arcane spellslinger, or ways to slay your foes in expanding vicious and cunning ways, but if you want to make ships fly, turn your stealth attempts into memory conundrums, or even create your own assistant, if you want to open your story to new and varied paths, Incantations is the tome for you. They also have a little bit of flavor text up at the top here. Powdered silver and gold siphons magic from dagger to dagger. Tears are fought back as the spirit of a loved one returns. Satisfaction rises to the surface as deception is created from paint and guile. Safety comes in the form of guards in the night. All magic demands price and toil, their consequences sometimes felt lethally short or everlasting in story. But some magic creates things that last, things that pull at fate and time, their consequences worth a tale of their own. And for such spells, they demand far more and more to be brought to life.
Man, I've pulled up the Kickstarter page and this looks pretty badass.
Doesn't it, though?
Yeah.
Presented in the 75 plus pages of incantations are spells, magic items, and subclasses, all made with one thing in mind: to provide you with more and more narrative tools for players and GMs alike. From the life-preserving and protective cocoon bastion to the undead march of exhumation to the studious college of antiquities and the ageless circle of dust, incantations will give you the power to infuse your world with a touch more magic while providing plenty of adventuring opportunities to put them to use.
Wow. The artwork is amazing too.
Mm-hmm. Some of the splash images that they have here listed down below. For the Inquisitive Bard, the College of Antiquities, from ancient tomes and scriptures and instruments and tools from long ago and weapons of ages past, this is where the bards of the College of Antiquities draw their power. The other one they have some for, they've got one for druid, one for warlock, sorcerer, cleric, and wizard. For the esteemed warlock, whispered one patron, a hidden being whose control of magic is measured in drops of reality, creates wonders within mere hushed tones. For a chosen warlock, a few are spared for their pact.
You ever bid on anything, or not bid on anything, but supported anything on Kickstarter outside of the Diamond Man's Kickstarter?
To be perfectly honest, I don't know that I have.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I may have, but I don't recall if I ever did.
5e is definitely a renaissance right now with all of the books and the Kickstarters and stuff that people are releasing. There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Yeah, there really, really is. I've been kind of diving back into Avray a little bit as well. There's a couple of things that I've seen that I want to expand upon.
Mm-hmm.
I was sharing some of it with you last night, and I don't know that you care, but I find it enjoyable, so I appreciate you putting up with me.
I care in the sense that I'm happy that you're finding joy in something.
Because otherwise I'm a joyless shell of a man. Exactly.
That's often how I describe you.
If he's not talking about business or coding, he's just
a joyless
miserable.
Shell of a man.
He's a joyless shell of a man. Oh, that's good. So does that wrap us up? Are we done?
I think it does. I think we're done.
Holy macaroni.
That was an hour and a half.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, so it'll probably be about an hour with editing.
Yeah. Well, if you have any questions or comments or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. I actually have two phone calls for us today.
I'm so glad you remembered because you told me a couple days ago and I totally forgot that we had phone calls.
One was from the Diamond Man, Stephen Hines, and the other was from Nigga Larry or Mumphrey. Or you can call him anything, just don't call him late to dinner. Yeah, that's right. That's what I did today. I went there. I did that joke.
Yeah.
I am
did that
old.
old joke. You just flew in from Tampa and boy, are your arms tired?
Yes. All right. So the first one is from Stephen Hines.
Hey, Bull, this is Stephen Hines. I'd like to know my freaking ketchup, you butt nugget. Meet me outside in the alley, 3:30 today. If I'm late, start hitting yourself and crying until I get there. Bye.
I have nothing against your Lord Kensington's ketchup, Stephen.
You just hate good things.
I do. It's one of my greatest traits.
And our next one is from Nega Larry.
Hi, guys, from the Dueling Ogres. I was just finishing up the current episode out, and daggone, man, I got to throw in for a ketchup, the Chipotle ketchup from JR's Barbecue. JR, the wrestling announcer, Jim Ross. Freaking awesome stuff. Love it, love it, love it. On sandwiches, burgers, fries. So good. Also, a wonderful episode. I love the quality. You guys have such great chemistry. It makes it a lot easier to listen to the podcast with one hand down my pants. And I just wanted to say I appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work.
It was real sweet until he said with one hand down his pants.
I couldn't hear it. It cut out again at the same spot. So give me the Cliff's Notes. What did he say?
Did you hear about the Jim Ross ketchup?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I heard about the JR's ketchup.
JR's Barbecue, the wrestling announcer Jim Ross, freaking awesome stuff. Love it, love it, love it on sandwiches and burgers and fries. So good. Also, a wonderful episode. I love the quality. You guys have such great chemistry. It makes it a lot easier to listen to the podcast with one hand down my pants. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thanks, Larry. That's sweet of you.
Yeah, it's mostly sweet. You know what? It's 100% sweet. It's 100% sweet.
I was going to say,
there is nothing wrong with touching yourself while listening to us.
If you want to listen to Dueling Ogres and masturbate, go right ahead.
Yeah. Or even if you don't want to masturbate, you just want to Al Bundy that shit and just put your hand down there just because that's the most comfortable place to be. Yeah, do it.
I'm all for it. Sex positivity.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Batman will go down on Catwoman.
Exactly.
You heard it here first. Or 5th or 27th. I don't care.
Yeah, you heard it at some point here.
You heard it somewhere. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the Facebook page like these nice people. Brandon, did we have nice people?
No, we did not have nice people this time.
Oh, not yet. Not yet. I mean, we just technically released that episode. So we'll catch up on it. And the people who tend to leave comments frequently, who know that we're finally starting to maybe hopefully put out content a little quicker, they'll step up their game too, because, and by them I just mean mostly Terry.
Yeah.
By and large, Terry is the one who leaves a comment on pretty much every episode.
He is.
Yep.
Viscount Terry W. Irvin II is amazing.
Yes, he is. And Stephen Hines.
Also, doesn't Stephen Hines have a Kickstarter coming up?
Stephen Hines does have a Kickstarter coming up. Let me see. I don't think it's live yet. If you go to Zombie Fabulous, or if you search Zombie Fabulous on Kickstarter and look for Zombie Fabulous 3, Mary, Sacred Heart of the Motor City, he posted an update that says, "Hello, everyone. I'm excited to announce that the Kickstarter for the graphic novel collection of the Zombie Fabulous trilogy will launch on July 9th.
Okay, so hopefully we can have this episode out by then.
Yep. Why should you pledge for this if you already have issues 1 through 3? That's a fair question, but let me tell you that this collection is going to knock your socks off. Issue number 1 has been completely rewritten, and Aaron is currently redoing the art. So
it's going to be a whole new experience.
Yeah, it'll be a whole new experience with Aaron, who has been the artist through all 3 of them, but it looks like the second paragraph says, why has the issue number 1 been redone? That's another great question. You see, I love the script for issue 1 when it was fresh, but it didn't take long for me to realize that issues 2 and 3 were way better. Plus, Aaron's art was great in the first issue, but he reached all new heights with the final installments of the trilogy, so I've been dying for a chance to make the graphic novel one big, gloriously cohesive hunk of fabulousness, and with your help, we can make that happen."
Hell yeah.
Yep, and he shared, looks like, several black and white pages of it happening. It is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Finally, if we reach the second stretch goal, the book will include a new 7 to 10 page Zombie Fabulous story that takes place after the ending of issue 3.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
So go pledge on that,
Yep.
loyal listeners.
That's right. Starting July 9th. Go log into your Kickstarter and put it on your watch list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. While you're at it, head on over to DuelingOgres.com and make sure to subscribe for news, shows, and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. Larry just put out a blurb, the latest book release for Black Void called Into the Oblivious Depths.
Yes, which looks great.
Which is a quintessential Black Void adventure where the characters are thrust into a perilous journey exploring the wonders and horrors beyond Lyn, the Eternal, as they search for a new home for humanity. You can also find a link for that down in the show notes below through Modivius if you liked the Black Void stuff that we put out. You can also find links on the little blurb that Larry put out as well.
Yes.
And finally, be sure to leave. I have a question. I have a couple of pieces of writing, and this kind of goes out to you and goes out to the listeners too. I wouldn't exactly call it nerdy content per se, but it's some of the stuff that I did in school, and I'd kind of like to publish it, especially like my article on coal in West Virginia.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's put it up.
Yeah, so if everybody else is cool, just let me know. I'd love to put that up and see what people think of it, just for shits and giggles. No real reason other than to just, I'm really proud of it, and I'm proud of the research that I did, and it's not overly long, but I think it gets the point across.
That's how I feel about my penis.
And finally, be sure to leave a 5-star review on iTunes or find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and anywhere you can find a podcast. Also, if you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because you'll not only get notifications for when we publish podcasts, because we publish them on YouTube as well. There's no video with them, but if that's your chosen way to watch/listen to things, hey, it's there too. And also you can watch the D&D episodes if you haven't yet.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The DM is fantastic.
Yeah, he really brings life to the world. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusk sharp.
Good night. All right, that's an hour 37 plus another 5 minutes on the front, which means that this episode will probably end up being about an hour and 10 minutes.
Nice. That's a good time for it.
Yeah, not bad at all. The recording has started. The recording has started.
The recording has started.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready, yes.
You're like, I was ready when I came in here, Rem.
Yeah, 30 minutes ago.
You're 30 minutes. It's
Damn, you got me again.
It's only been recording for 1 minute, so everything before this doesn't matter. All right.
You know, I'd like to confront your logic, but I feel like you would just beat me down with it.
Well, I am heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Did I lose you? I don't hear you. Brandon? Brandon? Brandon, what's happened? Brandon, where did you go? Oh no. I'm all alone. I'm scared. Please, Daddy. Okay. Hold on. I'm pulling up all of my stories real quick.
Have you ever thought about having those prepared ahead of time? You fuck.
Listen, asshole, I was trying to get them pulled up for ages. Did I lose you or is it throwing you off?
No, it threw me off.
Okay. The fireworks.
Yeah, they keep going in this, like, they're on both sides of my apartment, like through my front door and my back door. They're letting them off and it's fucking driving me crazy.
Doctoral